Hello everyone! My name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss, and today we have a coloring challenge. Steve, my business partner and husband, has challenged me to color the exact same cupcake on 4 different papers to see how the colors look and what I do to do the coloring process on different colored papers. It's a good challenge. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
So, for this today, we're going to be using the Derwent Chromaflow. Now, if you didn't catch last week's really great battle between Prismacolor and Chromaflow, go check it out because that will tell you everything you need to know about these pencils and their cost and how they compared to the mighty Prismacolor. Now, for our challenge that I'm going to be coloring, it's this worksheet right here. I've got on this side of the worksheet a really cute little cupcake that I've drawn. It's got some berries on the top, should be lots of fun. And then on this side of the worksheet has area for you to do notes and swatching. You can write down things like light source and color scheme and the date and all those good things that really make a difference when you are coloring. Now, the cool thing about a worksheet like this is it's a great place for you to practice, and so I wanted to make it available to you as a free download. There's a link in the video description. You can come and get it, download it, print it onto different colored papers, and try this experiment for yourself at home. And if you like this kind of format, this is how we do a lot of our worksheets over at Coloring Bliss when we do workshops and tutorials for the Bliss partners. So you're getting a little taste of what we do for the Bliss partners by downloading this sheet. So let's start off by showing you the 4 different types of paper I am going to be coloring on. So first off, obviously, we need to do white, right? That's pretty standard for what almost everybody is coloring on. So I'm going to color it right here on white first. That'll help us come up with all the colors I'm going to use. We'll talk about why I chose this specific color scheme here in just a minute. But this is a beautiful white color pencil paper. So it has a bit of a toothy texture to it, so it can grip and hold on to those pencils. Now, by the way, I'm going to put links to both the Derwent Chromaflow and any of these papers that we have availability for. Paper is a little tricky right now, so we'll see what I can do for links. Now, the second paper I'm going to try is something new. We're thinking about including gray paper as an option over at our Bliss print shop. So this is a vellum. That means it's kind of like the same texture as the color pencil paper. That's what the word vellum means. And I'm really excited because I haven't done much coloring on gray. I've done a little bit, but I want to see how the same color scheme and the same techniques that we choose over here translates onto gray. So that's our second contender here. Now, the third one that he has challenged me to color on is a beautiful tanned paper. We call it the Tone Tan Mixed Media. It's got a little bit of a different texture, so that might change the way the color pencil lays down. I don't know, we're going to find out. And I'm going to see how all those colors look. I love this tan tone paper. I've done lots of coloring on it. It's available at the Bliss print shop, so you can have your beautiful coloring pages printed onto this beautiful paper. Can't wait to see how this cupcake turns out. And finally, we have black. Now, all you can see right now is the white that I have written, that this is called Black Mixed Media. This is another paper that we offer at the Bliss print shop for you to have things printed on. Now, this format, this worksheet, wasn't necessarily designed to be printed on black paper. So I don't think you're seeing much. If I bring it up, there you can see it. It's all printed on there. Usually when we design a coloring page for you that is going to be printed on black, we make the lines heavier as I'm drawing them so that it will actually show up. So this one might be the hardest one for you to see as far as the lines, but this is going to be epic because when we swatch the Derwent Chromaflow pencils, they look stunning on black. So I'm excited to see how the same color scheme, the same light source, how it is translated here onto black paper. It's going to be really cool. And then at the end, I'm going to show all 4 And then we're going to have you vote which one you think looks the best. The white, the gray, the tan, the black. Do you have a guess? What are you going to guess is going to be the best? What's your guess, Steve? You're the one that gave me the challenge. Do you have a guess as to which one you're going to like the best?
I don't. I have no idea.
He's getting scared to make a prediction here. I'm going to predict that I'll like the tan the best. I don't know why. Let me show you how the Derwent Chromaflow looks on some of these different colors so you can kind of make an educated guess too. So for last week's video, when we did the Derwent Chromaflow versus Prismacolor Premier pencils, I did a bunch of swatching so that I could see all 24 colors on some different paper. So here is the white, how it looks on white. Here is how it looks on tan. And here is how it looks on black. See how they pop?
Uh-oh, I really like it on black.
I know. That's why I'm kind of surprised you didn't go ahead and guess you're going to like the black the best.
I was kind of leaning towards it, I will admit. But
yeah.
I don't know. So
the color scheme I picked, let me explain why I picked what I did. This is the image. I was looking at it and I thought, you know, we're going to need some reds for the berries. We're going to need green for the stems and the leaves. So that gave me two colors right off. And then I thought, what else do I want to do? So I looked at several different color schemes. I looked at a 4-color scheme, and I looked at a square tetratic and a rectangle tetratic, and I ended up coming back to one of my favorite, the complementary analogous. The complementary analogous and the split complementary are now my two favorite color schemes. I love the way these colors work. So I dialed it in with green as one color, and then I thought we could use this array of colors on the frosting and the berries and the cupcake liners. So we've got red, orange, red, violet, and green. The other reason this excited me is because we're using red violet, and this Chromaflow set has a very unique red violet. It's called magenta. Here's what it looks like on the tan paper. When I was trying to find like a Prismacolor dupe for this color for that testing we did last week, I couldn't find one that was just like this. It's a little bit bluer. It's a really cheerful, pretty color. So when I saw that that would be one of my colors, I was like, yeah, sold. This is the color scheme. We get to use the magenta and green, and this has a really pretty grass green color, really pretty. So I'm going to pick a few other pencils to fill out this color scheme, do some swatching right here so we can see all the colors that I'm going to be using, and then we're going to get this challenge started. All right, I've got my pencils picked for this color scheme. Now we're using the Derwent Chromaflow 24 set, so I don't have a ton of choices, but I feel pretty good about where I landed. So for the green, we're going to use grass green and basil. I think that will work well. I can use a little white if I need to make that an even more lighter tinted version of the grass green. Now for red violet, we get to use that really fun magenta color that I was talking about, and I'm going to pair it with salmon and raisin. I think that'll give it a good highlight and a good shadow. Now red's got complicated because there are two really good choices for red. There's scarlet and there is strawberry, and they're slightly different, but I felt like they would both work well, and I do have both a cherry and a strawberry to color, so I didn't feel bad about picking two reds. I'm going to pair those two reds with blush pink and natural brown to give a highlight and a shadow, and I think those 4 pencils together should work really pretty. And then red orange was our hardest color to pick because all I really had for a really good red orange was flame, which is kind of an orange red orange. So I think I could probably mix in a little bit of the scarlet or the strawberry to redden it up, warm it up even more. And then I'm going to pair it with the same dark over here, natural brown, for our shadows. Feel really good about this. I love writing out all my choices like this because it becomes sort of a color recipe that I can follow and refer back to, so I don't have to bend my brain to remember what color was I going to pair with the magenta. Got them all right here in this tray. They're all sharpened up, and we're going to go in with my goal to get some pretty blends taking advantage of the paper. In this case, the white paper. So I need to think about how I'm going to build in some nice midtones and some nice dark shadows. That's what we do when we work on white paper. Now I'm also going to work in a top right light source. So highlights will be coming this direction and shadows will be coming in this direction. If you want to learn more about how to find your highlights and your shadows, we have an entire 4-part workshop series all about light source that will help you learn to do this with confidence. So I'm going to grab the white and the black because I can foresee us using both to help with what we're doing here, at least maybe on some of the other papers. So I'll swatch those right here, and then we'll get started coloring. We have a strawberry and a cherry. That's where I'm going to start, at the very top. And I think I'll try to keep that strawberry a nice red color and then go for a more red orangish color on my cherry. And then of course, we'll work the greens into the stems and the leaves. So we've had a casualty here. This natural brown pencil, I could feel the lead was loose, so I gave it a little tug and it came totally out. Don't know what's going on with the quality here. This is not the first pencil I've had this problem on. Like I said, you can go check out the battle that we filmed last week to learn more about the sharpening issues I've been having with the Chromaflows. All right, we've got the strawberry done and the cherry done. I think they look really pretty. We've got good darks and good highlights. I really like this red-orange type of cherry here. It reminds me of the Rainier cherries that we've had when we were traveling through Montana. Oh, we ate 2 or 3 bags full of those cherries. They were so good. So that's what my little cherry right there reminds me of. So now we're going to move on to this fluffy frosting, and that's where the red violet is going to come in. Let's see how that looks. I've got the frosting done with our red violet color, and I gotta say, I'm not enjoying these pencils very much. This one here is about ready to break too. I can feel that the lead is broken in there. Hopefully it will color for a little bit longer so I don't waste too much of the core. Now we get to move on to the green of the muffin liner. Is that what you call the little paper they put a muffin in? I've decided to do it green because I think it will balance the top and the bottom of the composition really nicely. So let's put some green on. All right, the first cupcake is done, and white paper is great for highlights. I was able to keep this area nice and bright, and the high points on the cream nice and bright. The darks I was able to achieve really well too, so I'm pretty pleased with how this looks. Now the chore of taking what I did here and translating it onto the other pages so that it looks, or it is the same, so that we can see the same coloring on 4 different papers. That's the next challenge I have. So hopefully I can recreate this. I'm happy with it. I'm still not a huge fan of these pencils, but I was able to get a beautiful result. So let's repeat this now onto the gray paper. Now, because I haven't colored much on gray and I don't have these pencils swatched on gray, the first thing I'm going to do is just a quick swatch of the colors over on the right side. Not going to bother with labeling things too much. I just want to see them on the gray in case there's some sort of surprise that I need to deal with as I'm working on the cupcake. Now that I've seen the colors on the paper, it's time to start coloring. So I've got my reference coloring page that I just completed right close by, and I'm going to begin on the berries again and try to recreate the same effect that I got on the white paper. But this time I get to take advantage of the gray, which is a bit of a mid-tone, so it should make things pop in different ways. Got our strawberry and our cherry complete, and you can start to see why I love a darker paper. We've only started. This is not a very dark value gray, but can you see how the white tips on these leaves just pop and have much more impact because this background is more neutral. So we're seeing a good effect. We've just begun. Let's add our magenta to the cupcake frosting. All right, my cupcake on gray paper is done. So excited! I'm not going to show you the white one right there. You have to stay tuned to the end when we'll look at all 4 together and you can choose which cupcake you like the best. And on a side note, I thought this would be pretty easy. Just copy the same coloring from one to the next, and guess what? It's quite tricky. So yeah, here we go again for paper number 3, and this time onto the toned tan paper. I'm working on this little cherry here and wanted to just take a moment to show you how great it is to work on the tan tone paper. Of course, tan is a warmer color, and because the cherry and the strawberry is a warmer color, it's just naturally augmenting and making these colors look extra pretty. But there are things you have to keep in mind. For instance, our lightest color here for the magenta trio is almost non-existent on this paper. That's why you want to see it on the paper that you're actually coloring with before you color, so you can plan ahead and be wary of situations like that. We have another casualty. It's this salmon pencil. This is the second time this tip has broken on this pencil. So it must be broken all the way along. It's really frustrating, especially when you read the back of the tin. Let's see. The back of the tin, rely on pencils. Rely on pencils that last longer due to less breakage when sharpening and in use. So I'm wondering if this set of pencils had been broken before, like dropped, or what's going on. I don't know. But it is frustrating because I was in the groove and now I have to stop and resharpen, and this poor little guy's getting shorter and shorter, and Rose hates this sharpener. It's so noisy, but it's so fast and great. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, we're sharp and ready to go again. Hopefully it doesn't break again or we're in trouble because we still have 2 more frostings to color. Do you need a treat for being so brave next to the noisy pencil sharpener? Yeah, there you go. Oh, she doesn't want the treat. Oh, poor girl. Alright, the cupcake on toned tan paper is complete. Love the white highlights next to that toned tanned paper. So pretty. And the green down here went extra fast because I let the toned tanned paper do a lot of the work right here in the highlight. So pretty. Now we move on to black paper. Now obviously it's going to be hard for you to see these illustrating lines. I am having a hard time seeing them here in person. So we'll do a really fast time lapse of this one and watch the colors appear on the black paper. Another casualty. This time it is my pretty magenta color. Wah wah. All right, that's the cupcake on black. Steve's coming in. Don't look over yet, Steve.
Okay.
I'm going to cover this up, but I just wanted you guys to be able to see it before we see all four on the four different kinds of paper. Okay, so here we are back at white, and Steve is here now. So the question is, which cupcake do you like better? I tried my very best to keep all the colors consistent and the way I colored consistent throughout all four. But the black one, you have to color differently when you're on black because you're building highlights. You're not building shadows. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we're way on the other end of the value scale, so you have to build the other end of the value scale. So that one I did have to color a little differently. And it did take the longest and it was the hardest because we had problems. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But first, let's look at all of our pages. Let me zoom back just a bit if I can. Good. Now you can see, here's the white. Cupcake on white. How can I do this? Like that. Cupcake on gray.
Oh, that's pretty.
So as we move, we're getting darker on the value scale, right? This is the brightest of the values. Next to brightest. Here's a bit of a darker.
Oh, that's pretty
10.
good.
And then finally our darkest value scale and our black, which was so hard.
Wow.
Steve's studying them. So am I. I'm trying to decide which one I like best. Yeah, I think I know right away which one. There's one that just pops out as being my favorite. Comment below which one is your favorite before we start talking about what we're seeing here.
I think I have a favorite. It's just barely, though. I mean, it's...
I want to bring it up closer to screen because you haven't seen it up close. So there's white, gray, tan, and black. Okay, let me see if I can hold it up this way too because sometimes the other camera...
You almost, on the black, it almost needs like white. The black lines need to be white.
Yeah, yeah.
To catch more definition.
That's really hard to hold it like that,
Yeah.
you guys. Hopefully you got to see a little bit of a different angle there. All right. Let's hear what's Steve's favorite. Since this was your challenge, which one is your favorite?
I think the tone tan paper.
Me too. And I think it's because the tan warm colors really help those warm colors that are going on right here. What was your favorite? Was it this one? Let's look at the swatches real quick. Go the other direction so you can see how different the swatches are on each of the four papers. The reason I struggled
I'll
so
zoom in a
much...
bit for you.
The reason I struggled so much over here, look at the three darks I was working with, you guys. Of course, it's only
Maybe
two
move it
colors.
over. Yeah.
It's just two colors, this color and this color. I think this is the raisin and this is the natural brown. And
They
they are almost the
wow.
same. So that's one reason I struggled over here. Secondly, I struggled because even the lights start to look the same. So that was hard. And then again, like I said, I couldn't see the Illustrator lines very well. So I was kind of winging it in the swirls. And it was just really hard.
It's really pretty. But
I
yeah,
do too. It's a very different feel. This is a very different
I'd like to see
feel.
it where you outline it with white.
I don't know if I could do that. Like, it's hard to fix the Illustrator lines. Like, I had to add the black back into the base of the cupcake in here. Had to add a little bit in here. I don't think I could hold my finger steady enough. I'd have to use a pen. That's one thing, because a color pencil is always going to just travel along the top of the tooth of the paper. So then you get the weird dotty effect that you wouldn't want. So yeah, It would be so cool if we had a printer with the Bliss Print Shop that could print white ink.
Yeah.
We've looked into that printer because I would love it, and it's really expensive.
Yeah, like a few $100,000.
It's laughably expensive, like epic expensive, you guys. So maybe someday, but for now we'll just do what we can. And like I said at the beginning, this illustration was not drawn for the purpose of the black paper, and so that's why it was such a struggle. Okay, let's look at our favorites. I want to look at, these two are my favorite right here. But the tone, definitely, the tan tone, is definitely my favorite out of these two. And again, it has to do with those warm undertones really helping the mid-tone have some real charisma, for lack of a better word.
I really like that gray, though.
Me too. Like, let's look at the white versus the gray. Like, it's so
it just
soft.
stands out better, because
The whites stand out. Like, the highlights over here were really hard to get them to have impact because we've got two similar values, white against white. How do you get impact when they're the same value?
Yeah.
That's what this improved, was the white against the gray. All of a sudden, you have contrast impact.
Yeah.
So,
and I think you're right. I think it's just maybe the warmness of that tan.
yeah.
It just kind of warms it up a bit, makes it just a little more pleasing to me.
But this is a
But they're
close
gorgeous.
second.
I mean, like I said, it's so close.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's fun to see.
Yeah, and to work on, all four back to back to back to back like this was a really good exercise. It really worked my brain to get this to do what I wanted it to do. And I'm really pleased. It says everything that there is about why white is difficult and why black is difficult and why a lot of artists work on toned paper like this. They can be toned blue, they can be toned all different kinds of shades. It doesn't have to be just gray and tan. It's a really interesting experience. I hope you learned a lot doing this. We do have a 4-part workshop series on how to color on things that aren't white. So if you'd like to learn more about why this was hard and how to make it really pop and have impact, see, like from afar, the only thing having impact is the green.
Yeah, we had that workshop specifically toned tan paper.
Yeah, and then at the end we talk about black, though, I think, as well. So if you want to learn how to do this is really satisfying. Whites have impact, blacks have impact, and then you just build on your midtones, and it's really fun. Highly recommend this tan paper. And please comment below, do you think the Bliss Print Shop should start having gray paper available? We're really leaning towards doing it, but we would love your feedback on that. So I'm so glad that we could do this together. After working with the Chromaflow this long, I'm sorry, but I would not recommend it. All these little short boys, here, they all broke in this process right here, and they shouldn't. I don't have that much trouble with Prismacolor, and they're notorious for breaking. So either that package got dropped and the cords are just messed up, or they're just not that great. I don't know.
Yeah.
They were difficult to blend in some places too.
Maybe you'll have to comment, because if you have the Chromaflows and you don't have that problem, then most likely it was
dropped.
Yeah.
So comment below if you have the Chromaflow. Let me know your experience, breakage, blending, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining us. I'll have Steve make a blog post with all 4 of these posted so you can see them. Don't forget, you can download this worksheet and try it for yourself. Practice your coloring, make yourself a goal, and see what comes of your practice. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Rose, for surviving the loud pencil sharpener. Yeah, you're brave. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye, everyone.